Good morning. Chapter 11, lesson 8 is on page 516. We're going to be using the Pythagorean Theorem. We're going to be using it for some real-world examples. We probably should write it out over here so we make sure we got it figured out. C squared turns out to be equal to A squared plus B squared. And we can also write it as C is equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. And we can remember that we can label the sides in our right triangle. With C being the hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle, and then A and B being the other two sides. So let's try out number 5. It says, what is the distance across the garden shown at the right? And it gives us some dimensions. This is 65 meters, and this is 20 meters. And it says, well, then this side here must be 65 meters. And we're going to talk about this triangle that we have shaded in here, I guess. This is what we're going to be talking about. We want to know what the distance across the triangle is going to be. So we're looking actually for C. That's the distance diagonally. So we've got our formula. We're going to use C is equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. And so we have C, if we're plugging some stuff in, we're going to have the square root of 20 squared. And we're going to have 65 squared, the other two sides. And when we do that math, we turn out to be 400 plus, I forget what the other one does, and we take the square root of that, and with your calculator it comes out approximately equal to 68.0 meters. Pretty simple equation and very powerful little theorem. Number 13, we're going to go do a roof. And then the interesting thing on the roof, it tells us that it's 48 feet wide, it has a 2-foot overhang, and that the roof rises 4 feet for every 12 feet of horizontal change. So what they're telling us is it's 4 over 12, which is a 412 pitch. So this is telling us that the rise is 4 for every 12 feet of run. So if we look at our picture here, we have a 48-foot horizontal distance. Well, if we're going to do just half of that, then it turns out to be 24 feet for the triangle. And if it's 24 feet for the horizontal run, then the vertical rise must be 8, because 8 over 12 is the same, 8 over 24 is the same as 4 over 12. So then we got C, which is our hypotenuse. So again, we're going to use that same formula. C is equal to the square root of A squared and B squared, which is 8 squared plus 24 squared. And you're going to break out your calculator, and C turns out to be 25.3 approximately. So the hypotenuse turns out to be 25.3. But if you look at the question, it says, what is the length of CD? And I guess I should label C right there and D right there. So they're asking us to include the distance of the overhang. So the distance of segment CD turns out to be 25.3 plus the overhang of 2. So our answer turns out to be 27.3. That's the distance of the roof line, including the segment. For number 5, the answer was 68 meters, and I should, I guess, box that in as well. And that'll do it for today. Thanks so much. We'll see you all tomorrow.